You ever have one of those nights where everything feels off, but you can't explain why? That was last Thursday. Just me and my brother Ryan, home alone. Parents were out of town for some anniversary trip, and we were supposed to just chill. Maybe order pizza, watch dumb movies. Pretty standard. It was raining, sure, but not in a creepy story kind of way. Just the usual drizzly background noise. Nothing dramatic. What stood out was how quiet the neighborhood felt. Like unusually still. No cars, no dogs barking, not even the usual creaks from the Miller house next door. That place has been empty for years since their kid died. He was like 9 or 10, I think. Slipped in the backyard pool or something awful like that. People don't really talk about it anymore. Anyway, Ryan and I were hanging out in the living room. He was scrolling on his phone, and I was flipping through TV channels when the power blinked out for a second. Not long, just a quick flash, but enough to knock the Wi-Fi off and freeze the screen. Classic timing. So naturally, we did what bored siblings do when the internet dies. We started trying to spook each other. Ryan went first, telling this creepy story he'd heard at school about a girl who saw her reflection blink when she didn't. I rolled my eyes, told him I'd heard better. Then I told one about this boy who kept showing up in people's dreams before they died. Dumb, I know. But in the moment, it was fun. We kept trading stories back and forth, getting more ridiculous with each one. But somewhere along the way, the tone shifted. It wasn't the stories themselves, it was the timing. Like how, after Ryan finished one about hearing whispers through the walls, we both paused and kind of glanced around. It wasn't like we heard anything, but the silence suddenly felt too thick, like the kind that makes your ears ring. Then came the thump, not loud, just this soft, deliberate thump from upstairs. We both froze. We live in a 2-story house, and there was no reason for anything to be moving up there. We hadn't been up there all day. I called up, "Hello?" Because apparently I've learned nothing from horror movies. No answer. Ryan looked at me like, "Don't." But I was already halfway up the stairs. The hallway lights flickered for half a second, but nothing was there. I checked our rooms, empty, windows shut, no dripping pipes or falling books. We tried to laugh it off, went back downstairs. But something felt different, like we'd poked a hole in something we shouldn't have. A while later, we both heard it. Not a thump this time, more like dragging. Something soft, slow, and heavy sounding, from upstairs again. But the weird part, it stopped the second we stood up to listen. And that's when I saw it, just for a second. Across the hallway near the base of the stairs, a small figure, looked like a kid, standing with his back to us. His clothes looked soaked, his head was kind of tilted down. And then he was gone. Not like he ran, more like he blinked out. I didn't even say anything at first, just stood there staring. Ryan noticed and asked what was wrong, and when I described what I saw, his face just dropped. He said he thought he saw something earlier too, but didn't want to say it out loud because it didn't make sense. Said he thought he saw a little boy's face peeking around the bathroom door earlier when he was getting water. But we chalked everything up to being creeped out, until now. The dragging sound came again, closer this time, not upstairs anymore. Somewhere down the hall, near the laundry room. We both just sat there, frozen. We could hear the sound of wet footsteps now, and something faint, like a child humming. That's when it clicked for me. The Miller kid who drowned. People said he used to hum to himself while playing in the backyard. I don't know why that popped into my head, but once it did, I couldn't shake it. Ryan whispered, "Do you think we, invited something?" And honestly, I didn't know. All we did was tell stories. But maybe that's all it takes. Maybe talking about the dead does more than we think. Maybe they hear us. We didn't sleep that night. We stayed in the living room, lights on, blanket fort and all, like we were 10 again. The sounds didn't stop. Every so often we'd hear another soft thump or a faint giggle from down the hall. But we never went to look. In the morning, everything was quiet again. No puddles, no footprints, no signs of anything. Just 2 exhausted siblings sitting in silence, staring at the staircase. We haven't talked about it since, not even once. But I still hear it sometimes, at night, a soft thump, and a hum that doesn't belong to anyone in this house. So I know everyone always says this like it's a joke, but I swear, I'm not usually the type to get spooked over nothing. I live alone, yeah, but I like it. I'm not nervous at every little creak or bump in the night, usually. But this night, This one messed with me a little. So it's about 1:30 in the morning and it's pouring outside. Like heavy, constant rain. No thunder. Just that steady hum that makes you feel extra cozy under a blanket. I had dozed off on the couch watching some show I've seen 100 times. One of those comfort rewatches. I think it was The Office. Not that it matters. Anyway, I'm out cold when suddenly my dog, Luna, she's a pit lab mix, super chill, starts barking like crazy. Which is weird because she's normally the laziest creature alive. I've seen her ignore delivery drivers, raccoons, and once even a possum on the fence. But this time, she's standing at the front window barking with her whole chest, like full-on something's wrong mode. So of course, I'm instantly up, heart pounding. You know that moment when you wake up from a dead sleep and you're half in a dream, half in panic mode? That was me. I stumble over to the window, rubbing my eyes, and I pull the curtain back. At first, I don't see anything. It's raining so hard the streetlights have that hazy halo around them, and everything looks kind of smudged. But then across the street, right on the sidewalk in front of the neighbor's yard, I see someone, just standing there. I couldn't make out their face, obviously. They were wearing a hoodie or a jacket with the hood up, just standing, not moving, not looking at their phone, not pacing or waiting for a ride, just standing there in the rain, facing my house. I mean, sure, it's a public sidewalk. It's not illegal to stand there, but there was something off about it. Luna kept growling, her body stiff like she was ready to bolt out the door. And I just watched for a while, expecting the person to, I don't know, walk off, turn around, do something. But they didn't. They just stood there, not close enough to feel threatening, but not far enough to ignore either. I thought about opening the door, yelling something, but then I thought, what would I even say? Hey, you. Stop existing? And anyway, something in my gut said to leave it alone. Eventually, after what felt like 5 full minutes, the person shifted. They didn't run or bolt or anything dramatic. They just turned slowly, walked down the sidewalk, and disappeared into the rain. That was it. No confrontation, no dramatic twist. Just weird. I stood there for a while afterward, listening to the rain and Luna's little huffs, wondering if I should be more worried. But by morning, the street was empty, the rain had stopped, and everything looked normal. Boring even. And I know it sounds so anticlimactic. One person standing in the rain. So what? But there was something about the stillness, the timing, the way Luna reacted. It's probably nothing. Maybe someone out for a walk. Maybe they were just lost. Maybe they didn't even see me. But sometimes when I'm up late and it's raining again, I catch myself glancing out that same window, just to make sure no one's standing there. And every time I think, what would I have done if they'd taken a step toward the house? It was raining hard that night, the kind of rain that soaks through your hoodie in seconds and turns every puddle into a guessing game. Ankle deep or knee deep. I had stayed late at my friend Maya's place, lost track of time, and missed the last bus. Her older brother offered to walk me home, but I didn't want to be that girl. I said I'd be fine, just 15 minutes. I walk it all the time. Stupid. By the time I got to the main road, everything was dark. Not just dim, dark. Like the rain had swallowed the streetlights. My phone was nearly dead, but I used it as a flashlight anyway, holding it low and close so the water wouldn't kill it faster. About halfway home, I got that feeling. You know the one. The feeling that someone's behind you. Not close enough to hear footsteps, but close enough that your spine tenses, like it knows something's not right. I didn't look back. That's rule number 1 in every horror story, right? Don't look back. But I could hear something. Not footsteps, more like wet fabric dragging behind me. Swish, drag, pause. I walked faster. Then it changed. The sound got softer, like whatever it was had noticed I knew. Like it was matching my pace, not chasing, just following. I turned down my street and tried to convince myself it was nothing, just nerves, the storm. Maybe a loose garbage bag blowing behind me. But when I reached my house and looked back, there was nothing there. The street was empty, rain pouring, no sound but my own breathing. I laughed at myself, kind of shaky, and unlocked the door. Here's the thing though. As soon as I stepped inside, I felt it again. That weird weight, like something was still behind me, like it had come in too. I shut the door and turned the bolt, slowly peeled off my wet hoodie. Onyx, our cat, usually comes running when I get home, but she didn't. The house was quiet, too quiet. No hum from the fridge, no heater kick, just my heartbeat. I stood in the entryway for a second, trying to shake it. Then the bathroom door, just down the hall, creaked open. I hadn't been home all day. It should have been closed. I called out, "Mom?" No answer, just silence. And then the soft sound of dripping, like someone soaking wet was standing on the tile. I didn't move. I couldn't. Something was breathing in that hallway. Slow, wet, shallow. I backed toward the stairs, trying not to make a sound, eyes locked on the dark hall. The bathroom light flickered once, then stayed off. I made it to my room, locked the door, and sat in my closet with a blanket wrapped around me until the sun came up. I never saw anything. But when I finally opened the bathroom door the next morning, the floor was wet, like someone had been standing there all night, dripping, waiting.